I'm so damn tired. Has this ever been you? Because it has been me. I used to feel burnout a lot. I used to feel like my self-care routines were not working. In fact, the self-care itself felt like work. The routine felt like work. It made me feel more stressed than I was when coming into it. So I'd end up defaulting to things like scrolling through social media, lying in bed all day, watching Netflix, like binging Netflix shows, because my self-care routine wasn't working, because I was missing these three main ingredients. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to do self-care right, how to do self-care as a feminine woman. I'm going to give you the 3 layers of self-care. As human beings, we are multifaceted beings, we are multidimensional beings. So I am not against lighting scented candles. I'm not against doing your nails, doing proper hygiene. I'm not against, relaxing and breathing in the fresh air. But that is just the outer layer of self-care. There are 2 other layers that a lot of people ignore or don't put as much importance as they should. And once you figure out these other 2 layers and then combine them with the outer layers, then your self-care is taken to the next level. And I've talked about this before in a video called Deep Cellular Level Self-Care. But today I'll explain it a bit more differently and in a more detailed manner, so that when you build your self-care routine, you feel well rested, well refreshed, ready to take on any challenge. You feel at peace, not ready to snap at any. If you're interested in that, let's go. 3 layers of self-care are going to be, the first one is going to have to do with your spirituality and your beliefs. The second layer is going to have to do with your processes and systems. And the last layer is going to have to do with now the physical, the outer layer, as I talked about in the beginning, the candles, the bubble baths, the fresh air, So when you combine all these 3, you have a better outcome, and more rested and more well-being will flow into your life, because you're balancing most of the areas, most of the key areas in your self-care journey. So the first layer is beliefs and spirituality. Beliefs are what is actually running you, right? What you believe to be true. You don't go further than what you believe you deserve, right? So when we're doing a self-care, it's so important to do inner work. It's so important to figure out what it is we actually believe about ourselves. That's why affirmations are so important. I always talk about affirmations. That's why doing your inner work and discovering what actually drives you is so important. If you believe in a higher power protecting you, there is this feeling of safety. There's this feeling of I'm covered. So for example, if I was stressed about something, right? And it's something really out of my control, even if it's in my control, I'm just stressed about it. But I felt like I was alone and nobody is gonna help me out. It would be completely different than if I always believe that, okay, God's got me, the universe has got me, everything is gonna work out for my benefit anyway. So though I'm stressed about this thing, if I just give it to God, I let it go and trust that I'm covered, I will be less stressed. Even studies have shown that people who pray more, people who meditate more, people who believe in a higher power are less anxious or less stressed, okay? Because they can surrender to their problems and their stressful situations to that, to a higher power. So in your life, do you have a pervasive sense of like danger, like you're afraid or anxiety, or like you can't rely on anybody? Then perhaps you can try to get more in touch with your spiritual side. One way you can practice self-care in this manner is journaling, right? Journaling. I have an affirmation manifestation journal linked in the description if you're interested. And there are other ways to do self-care. There is, talking to somebody, you can, pray, meditate, whatever, just to do your inner work and work on your limiting beliefs and things like that. So yes, another thing is working on your beliefs and like identifying what it is you actually believe and the underlying belief. I have a 7-step process to reprogram your subconscious mind that is in the journal. When you do this process, you're learning about yourself, you're learning about the root cause of your actions, okay? So if this is you, perhaps you need to go deeper into surrender and letting go and letting God, okay? And I used to, there was a time I wasn't really spiritual. I was like ignoring it, like you don't pay much attention to it. And I was all over the place, honestly. I would get like anxious about the smallest things, like going to do my presentation in class, or I would get anxious about whether so-and-so likes me, or why is so-and-so ignoring me, or, you know, a bunch of tiny things would make me anxious all the time. But then when I started to connect to like a higher power and to God, you realize some of these things are not really worth it. Think about the universe. Think about how big the universe is. We're literally on a rock spinning. A rock is spinning in outer space, and you're here worrying about what people think about you. So another way is to picture how vast and how big the universe is compared to whatever issues you're going through, right? So now, and the second layer of self-care we're going to talk about is processes. This has to do with your habits and your systems and your embodiments. Here's something funny, okay? We were talking about painting your nails in the beginning. You know, you're doing your self-care, you've lit up your candles, or you've gone for a massage. But then at the back of your mind, you know that I have an exam coming up and I haven't studied for it, and I've not been doing well in my exam, so I'm probably gonna fail. And if I fail this exam, it's gonna have consequences, like I'm gonna have to redo it and pay more money to redo the course. You know, a lot of things are at the back of your mind and you want to do well, but you ignore that to do some self-care to make you relax. Do you see how without the second layer, the third layer becomes meaningless? If you don't address the real issues, or you don't address ways in which you can solve certain issues in your life, then you can never rest easy, because they'll always be bugging you. It's not until you figure out how to study, you figure out how to set a system where your grades are gradually and systematically improving, that you can actually relax into your self-care. Another example is, for example, personally, when I learned this, I always make sure I have a system for everything, right? So that I can rest easy. With structure comes flexibility. With structure comes flow, right? And as feminine women, we need that structure so that we can be in our flow, so that it can allow us flexibility and to be playful, because we know the structure is there to protect us. So when I'm as a lawyer, sometimes I have to write briefs. I have to, like, after we've done the case, I have to write submissions to the judge to read about my case and why I should win, right? And why the law should side with us. It's called submissions. So when I'm writing submissions, I learned a system. I have a system that I do. I always give myself ample time. I map out the time. So I give myself at least 3 days to write submissions, depending on the severity of the suit. If it's a large suit, I'll give myself up to a week, even 2 weeks. So I allocate time. That's part of the structure of the processes that I've put in place. And then after I've put I've allocated time, I allocate the resources that I'll use. There's a website we use to search cases, so that one is always a go-to, and I know how to use their search engine. And then I also look at the relevant laws, I look at the rules of the court, and then when I have all those resources down, I start immediately. I search up a case, a similar case to what I'm doing in the case search, and then I open a OneNote document, and anything that piques my interest that I'm interested in, I copy paste it into that document. So I don't want to go on and on about this, but it's so automatic now that I don't have to think about it. When I'm assigned a brief, like, hey, can you please do submissions for me? I don't have to get stressed, like, oh my gosh, on top of this work, I have this submissions to write. Where am I going to begin? That is the list of my concerns. I already know how I'm going to do it. Because it's automatic, I've already thought about this and I've already put the systems in place. So in every area of your life, every important area, especially the areas that are stressing you out, create systems around that, create habits around that, automate it so that you're in your flow. And that's how you can make things easier for yourself. And it's also a form of self-care, because that part of your brain gets to rest because it's become automatic. right? And then the last level, which is now the level everybody is familiar with, which is the physical and the outcomes level. As ladies, when we rest, we need to rest differently. We know that we're different from men. We have, we're cyclic creatures. We have certain, our hormones are different and all that. So resting for a man is not the same as resting for a woman. So have you ever, I'll give you an example. I was feeling stressed out and I binge watch a Netflix show. I don't feel rested. I can binge watch so many Netflix shows and I don't feel rested. As opposed to my brother who can like binge watch shows or play games and feel well rested. That doesn't work for me. So I learned that women, we have to do, when we're resting, it's important to go back into our bodies. Like we keep going, but remember to take your body with you, your senses, your something that will take you away from your mental plane to your body, right? So for example, taking a bubble bath, taking a nice warm shower. And the key is also awareness, being aware of your body, being in your senses, using it. If you're listening to classical music, right? Are you really listening? Are you immersed in the experience so that you're not thinking, you're just bodily immersed in it? That's how we rest. So even if you're painting your nails, associate that painting your nails with good feelings. I always associate I'm painting my nails because I love myself. I love sparkly things. I'm embodying the divine feminine. I like to create. I like to beautify. So it may just be painting my nails, but for me it has a bigger meaning, a higher meaning. And you can use this power of association that we learned, that associating certain actions with good feelings is what makes them powerful, right? So if you take a bubble bath, make sure you go into your body. If you go and take a massage, it's taking you to massages really make you go back into your body, because you really can't ignore the other day I went for a deep tissue massage. I was in between laughing. I felt like laughing and crying at the same time. But at the end of it all, I had such a deep experience in my body. I was like, oh, this is what my body feels like. This is what my toes feel like. I usually ignore you guys most of the time, but now I'm well acquainted with your toes. So taking your some tea, whatever. Another thing I've been doing lately is like for 15 minutes at least, I go into the morning sun. I'm so lucky I live in a tropical country. So I go into the morning sun and just feel that warmth of the sun and picture just like love surrounding me. And I'm just like, wow, it feels so amazing, guys. It feels so amazing. So if you put all these things into practice, you'll end up doing self-care in a way that rejuvenates you. You can now pour from a full cup, not from an empty cup. A lot of us are burnt out. We're tired, potatoes. We're doing the most, but our self-care has become like burdensome. We're not feeling rested. But when you do self-care right, you start to feel rested. You start to be energetic. You start to do a lot, like you have a lot of energy to do the things you actually want to do. You feel joyful and playful. And that's what happened to me. When I started doing all these things together, the power it held, it was amazing. Like my skin got better, my sleep got better, my relationships got better, because I wasn't snapping at people all the time because I'm burnt out and I feel like they're annoying me, they're draining my energy. No, because I'm full. Like I've taken that good care of myself. I can now talk to people. I can now relate with people in a way that is healthy. Not only that, my grades improved because I have put systems. My relationships improved because I have put systems. My work, I started getting compliments. Like my boss would always be like, I'm keeping you in this firm because your research skills are so good. When you write submissions, they're beautiful. And I'd be like, just because I took some time to do some self-care, to organize my life a little bit so that I have freedom to rest. It's amazing. I hope you try it. And if you want more coaching on like making systems and academic coaching and any other thing, you may be interested in the law of attraction and just organizing in your life in a way that benefits you, you can check the email in the description and see if we're a match. And I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you take care of yourself in the week ahead. Remember to say your affirmations and see ya. Bye.